Hello, I'm Michael Schutz of Trinity County News, and I'm here with Judge Page, and we're just going to kind of update on some of the county news that's going on, and I'm going to kind of turn you loose, Doug.
All right.
Okay?
Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to visit with y'all and kind of inform Trinity County what's happening out there in the county. I guess at the top of the list, this point in time is last week we approved or adopted our fiscal year 2020 budget. And I'm happy to say that we were able to stay with the tax rate that we've had for the last 8 years.
Awesome.
Of 65 cents. I know that there's been some increases in people's taxes based on values going up from the appraisal district, but that seems to be a statewide happening, if you will. And back on the budget, a couple of things, or maybe 2 or 3 things we're looking at doing. We put a capital project line, or capital improvement line. We're looking at doing some major upgrades to our parking lot here at the courthouse complex, getting it back in good shape. Doing some work out there at the county park, getting it back in good shape and making it appealing for the public. And I know that a lot of the public enjoys the county park facilities, and that's what we're all about, is having things for the county, or not just county employee, but county, I guess you'd say county people, to do and enjoy the park facilities and what Trinity County has to offer.
Well, I noticed that that y'all have Joe Bell looking at redistricting. Yeah.
Yes, and that's something that's done according to the state constitution. That's done every 10 years. And coming up 2020, it's time to redistrict again. And we have in the past, I think Mr. Bell said this would be his 4th time to do it, so you can figure how long he's been here. That's 40 years, 40 plus years. But we're excited, I think, based on some population studies I've seen through other facets and other agencies, we've seen a little growth in Trinity County, and I'm excited to see what the population says. And this, if I can back up a little bit, redistricting goes hand in hand with the census. And of course we got the census going on nationwide, but redistricting will go hand in hand with that. And we'll probably have to move some precinct lines. It seems we're seeing a lot of growth down on the lake in Sebastopol area and that way. So we're probably going to move some precinct lines because we got to have based on our population, our 4 commissioners' precincts have to stay within a 5% up or down. You know, they have to all be uniform.
Well, of course, that's something that most people don't even realize going on, but I did see where it was happening. Are there any new projects going on in the county or anything that
Well, as I think I've touched on in the past, we have our airport, which a lot of people don't even know we have an airport, Trinity County Airport, and we have just working with TxDOT Aviation, just completed last year about a $350,000 grant, new lighting out there at the airport. We're getting ready, matter of fact, I visited with a guy last week about doing what they call a ramp project, which is routine aviation maintenance program. And what we're looking at doing is seal coating, fog seal they call it, the runway, and restriping it and everything. And that's a grant program through TxDOT Aviation. Like I said, we're looking at doing some upgrades to the county park. And of course the commissioners, they invested in some new equipment for road maintenance and things of that nature. And trying to keep the roads in good shape for people to travel around on.
Yeah, I know there's some elections coming up this year. Why don't you inform the people on the ones that are coming up? Do you recall that?
The ones, of course, we got precinct 1 and 3 commissioners are up for re-election. All 4 of the constables are up for re-election. Tax assessor collector Lindy Warren's retiring, so that seat will be open. if I can back up, talking about the commissioners, Commissioner Worsham has announced he's retiring, so his slot will be open. The sheriff's up for re-election. Trying to let Benny Shiro is up for re-election. Joe Bell, our county attorney's up for re-election. I think maybe.
Well, that's a pretty good group.
It is.
And so people need to be aware and pay attention to what's, those that are getting ready to run. But it's this is the normal turnaround or rotation of the county, and people should be excited about it because it gives them a chance to voice their opinions and to stand up for those that are really working for them.
Right.
And so I know that I have my personal opinion of a lot of them, and I think 99% of the county personnel do a good job, work hard, and they love what they do, and they're there because they want to help the county. And I'm excited about it coming up because it gives them a chance to get out and talk to the people where they don't normally have the time or the opportunity to. And so it gives the county a chance to get introduced to them.
Exactly, it does. And of course, that's one thing I like about county government, and I think you've heard this, and I hear it as I go to events around the state and conferences and stuff. County government, we're with the people. We run into the people at the grocery store or at the football game, so we're face to face with folks, and they can quiz us about what we've been doing up here. Like I touched on, we just finished up the budget process, and that's something that's me as the chief budgeting officer, with assistance from the auditor, we put together the budget, but then it's presented to Commissioner's Court, and the Commissioner's Court has final say-so about approving the budget. And we had some, I wouldn't say heated rounds in there, but that's just what happens when you put five people together discussing activities and what's going to happen. Do we want to spend money here, or can we afford to spend money here? But we all come together in the end and shook hands as we left the courtroom, and got a budget passed that I'm happy is balanced and look forward to working with it.
I've been in several of the discussions in the court sessions, and that's one thing I appreciate about the county. We may disagree on something, but we always work through to a solution, agreeable solution, and that's what it's all about when you get together. We got to work out the problems. We can't make the problems bigger. We got to come up with a solution, and that's what I enjoy. And if you ever get a chance to come to Commissioner's Court, you'll see that these men work together. They make it work, and that's what I appreciate about the Commissioner Court, is that they're all in it to make whatever the county needs work out somehow.
And I appreciate that, Michael. You recognizing that, and me as well as some of the others on the court, we've been to leadership trainings and stuff, and I'm sure you've heard it too, that don't come in the room talking about the problem if you don't have a possible solution to it. Let's sit down and hash it out and figure out how we can come to a solution in the end.
Well, compromise is what civilization's all about.
Correct.
Just like you can't always be the first in line. I know at Brookshire sometimes the line is 5 people long, but that's what makes us a civilization. Driving down the road and someone is driving slower than you, but they're driving a speed limit or whatever. We're a civilized nation or county, and so we have to compensate for each other within reason, and so that's what makes things work in a republic, and so I appreciate seeing the system work.
You're talking about driving down the road. You can't, like you said, someone's driving down the road, they're driving the speed limit, and just say, for example, you're driving above the speed limit and you run up behind them. Well, then you still ought to respect them, that they're obeying the law, and not get aggravated with them that they're in your way and slowing you down.
Well, I know I live in Westwood Shore, so that trip into Trinity is a 2-lane road, and so many times we got so many seniors that drive 5 miles or so below the speed limit, and I know I'm always running somewhere. I mean, just never. But I realize that they have a right to be on the road too.
Correct.
And so I wouldn't want to limit their rights because of what I believe it, but if we work together, and that's what needs to happen. Right now, there's so many divisions that people will not work towards the center to an agreement on it. And I have seen that in the commissioner's court, and you know, there's a lot of power on that board. There's a lot of power that controls the county, and I just appreciate them being able to work together. And of course, you're kind of caught in the middle, you know, but I've seen y'all work things out that started so far apart, and y'all just worked your way together and made it work.
Exactly.
And that's an admirable situation.
I appreciate that.
What do you see about, I know that I see the population moving out. I see them even moving past Willis now out this direction, and I know when they finish the freeway that it's going to be even more accessible. Do you see anything happening like that?
I do. We're seeing growth all over the county, really. Mainly down there on the lake, FM 356 corridor. We've been seeing a lot of building and growth down there, property purchases. Out here, State Highway 94 from Apple Springs area back out toward the Natchez River. And I told years ago when they started that project of building a new bridge across the Natchez River, I informed the folks out there then, I said, y'all get ready. I said, when they get this bridge rebuilt where it's not treacherous to cross, I think y'all are going to see some growth out there. And they are. You know, there's been a lot of this old timber company land that has been bought and subdivided, and we're seeing houses being put in out there, mobile homes being set up out there, and a couple new businesses coming in out there. I haven't really had a chance to visit with the new businesses that have come in, and they just have a building out there, so I don't even know what they're doing exactly. I need to stop in and visit with them, but I'm excited about the growth around the county, and I think we will continue to see that.
And I noticed that a lot of this is middle class and upper class people moving out and buying property to upgrade it, and so that this tends to raise property values for everybody, but it also tends to raise the county income and the ability to do more.
It does.
So
I'm
excited about it. I noticed that some of these rundown properties are getting cleaned up. I see that the county's working real hard at that.
Exactly. I can touch on that a little bit. You know, we have our environmental enforcement department that works under the authority of the sheriff's office under the Sheriff Wallace. And we have two environmental enforcement officers, Joe Don Kennedy on this end of the county, or the Groveton end of the county, and then John Chamberlain on the Trinity end of the county. And they stay extremely busy working on dilapidated structures and just things that really need attention throughout the county to be cleaned up.
Now, without being a nuisance, how can people report stuff that needs to be looked at or inspected?
Well, they can make contact with the sheriff's office, and then the sheriff's office will put them in contact with these environmental enforcement officers that I mentioned.
And now I'm going to be talking to Sheriff Wallace here later, but he was talking about stray dog problem. How can a community help out with this?
That has been a problem, I tell you, and it seems like it's really grown over the last couple of years. But the main thing, and of course, spaying and neutering your pets, and trying to keep that population down. And we actually have I think it's a mobile clinic that comes. I'm not sure the schedule of it. You get with the sheriff's office, they can get you all the details on that. But a mobile clinic that comes and sets up in Brooks Brothers parking lot, Trinity, and do the spay and neuters at a very reduced cost. And some facts, and it's not even a charge if you can prove that you're lower income, that you can have your pets spayed and neutered for free.
That's good to know. Now, isn't there a leash law or something?
There is a leash law in Trinity.
Is that on public property or all property?
It's on public property, as long as you know, I have my dogs out there at the house at Wood Lake, and as long as they stay on my property, we're all good. But when you get off on the public property, they do need to be on.
Yeah, I know. We got us a dog and had her obedience trained and everything, and I got 3 neighbors around me, And one of them taught her to fetch the ball, the other one lets him in the house at their dog. He drives around with them in the truck.
You have a community dog.
Yeah, so, but, and she comes home at night and says, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, you know, but, so it's not like we're out to take everybody's dogs, it's just those that become aggressive.
Correct, yes, yeah. And dogs that are picked up, you know, they're picked up in their house, and if it's someone's pet that gets picked up by chance, they can call the sheriff's office and make arrangements to pick it up.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, is there any other issues you'd like to talk about before?
You know, and I don't want to steal the sheriff's thunder, but the sheriff he's come before the court the last couple times and has stressed about having problems housing inmates in neighboring counties. You know, we have agreements with Walker County, San Jacinto County, all the neighboring counties pretty much, as far as housing inmates, but they're limiting us on housing inmates. So we're hesitant, or have been hesitant over the years to talk about it, but we're going to really get serious about building us a jail in the future. And I know that's taking on a big financial burden, but I feel it's just, there's no way around it.
Well, I know some of the statistics, and I want to have Mr. Wallace, Sheriff Wallace, go over the details and statistics, but I know that of all of the counties surrounding us, we're the lowest crime rate of all of them, and that's because y'all have worked with the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department, and y'all have worked very hard at getting control over it and you know, taking down the big offenders and following through on the sentencing and so forth on it. And so, but we still need to be able to take care of those that we have to incarcerate.
That is correct, yes. And I kudos to the sheriff and the police departments here, and as well as state law enforcement here in Canada has helped out, like you said, knocking that crime rate down to the rate it is. And we hope we can keep it down here. But we're going to have to look serious about being able to, like I said, keep the offenders incarcerated that need to be incarcerated.
Well, I know I was in a couple of the courts that they're doing some of this, and all of the judges that I saw there were very concerned about doing what's right, but they were very concerned that those that were violating were contained on what they did.
Right.
And I didn't see any of them that overstepped, but you know, when I sat into the courts and I watched you know, daily routine of them going through and reviewing cases, from family custody cases to felonies to misdemeanors and drug cases. They were very specific about, this is the law, this is what has to happen, you know, and they followed through. And I think it's very important that we support our courts. And,
yes.
And I think Trinity has been very supportive to their courts and allow them to do the job, and they are doing their job. And
right,
so,
exactly.
But everybody's welcome to sit in on these courts and to witness for themselves.
Exactly.
And I'm sure the schedules are published somewhere. I don't know.
They are. Matter of fact, I think they're online on our website, our court schedule. Okay. And they do fluctuate now and again. Of course, the county court, I have that once a month. The district courts, I couldn't begin to tell you their schedule. I'd have to look at it. But, you know, like I said, those are open to the public, and if you want to see how the criminal justice system works and to have time, I'd love for them to come sit in.
I think it's important because, you know, we see TV stuff and it's totally different because these judges take it personal. I've sat in there and they don't just wham bam get it done. They ask questions. I was sitting in one court and they asked one of the defendants why it happened, and they said, well, it was misstated here on it, and they said, no, it was stated correct, but we followed through and we did what we were asked to do. And so the judge worked with them on what needed to happen on it. And I think it's important that we encourage our judges to do that, and by being there and watching the system work, we understand how the system works. And I think that's important to it.
Exactly, very much so. And everyone the way I look at it in my court, of course, I handle misdemeanor cases in county court, but I would hope that these folks that come to court learn from their mistakes, if you will, that they've made, and choose not to go down that road again and turn their life around.
Well, I'm excited about what's going on. I appreciate you taking time, Doug.
You
I know
bet.
you're leaving town here shortly, and you met with me early so we could get this done. But that's what you do, and I know every time I've asked, you've always made arrangements where we could get together.
And if I could just say, Michael, I appreciate you, and I appreciate Trinity County News and what y'all do as far as getting this information out to the public in Trinity County. And I'd like to say to the folks of Trinity County, don't ever hesitate to come visit with me if you have a need, or just want to visit with me about some idea you may have in Trinity County. My door is always open, so please feel free to come by anytime, and we can sit down and talk.
Thank you, Judge.
You bet.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Same to you.